I've lived on for 75 long years, and I come here as an 18-year-old bride. I went to Washington 50 years and a little more ago. I saw all the people around there and been with the president. And I learned a great many things up there that I didn't know before. I'll add a little more to it. I was one of the board of lady managers for the Chicago Exposition. And I served my full time in Chicago and learned a good many things over there. I was a delegate to the Tennessee Centennial Exposition. I was a delegate to St. Louis, a juror at St. Louis. I think for a North Georgia cracker of my size and age, I've had a pretty good education on that line. That do all right? I was a 3-year-old girl when the Indians were moved from this country to Indian Territory. I have an indistinct recollection of seeing the red men as they went through the woods, for everything was woods nearly at that time. I have a distinct impression, if a 3-year-old child can have it. Nevertheless, I've been here since that time, and I've seen the march of progress all the way. At that time, we had only stagecoaches, and we only had horses and buggies, and we had lots of footback travelers. Now I've seen it come along all this way, and the airplane goes over my house going on its way, and it's got to be such a common thing, don't go even out to see if she can look at it.
Born in Charlottesville, Virginia. My grandfather belonged to Thomas Jefferson. My grandfather was 115 years old when he died. And now I am 101 years old. Some people didn't have no beds when they were slaves. People slept on the floor. Side up down. Just like a lot of white people. We didn't know nothing. Didn't like to look at no book.
Harriet Smith, remembering what she saw as a small girl during the final days of the Civil War.
We sit on that picket fence all day long, seeing them soldiers going back to San Antonio and different places. Colored soldiers in jail. That's not long our home. A two-story house.
These recorded memories were among thousands of interviews done with ex-slaves in the 1930s and 40s.
Can you remember slavery days?
Yes, I remember all our white folks, all the names of them, all the children. Call every one of the children's names.
Who did you belong to?
The baby boy.
The results of these digitally enhanced recordings are arresting, almost unbelievable.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rechaha Kodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, all you supporters of the truth. That includes you few sisters, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I ran across this video. I was looking at something else, but I ran across this and decided that's where the Spirit's going to go. Now, hopefully this video stays up, because the person who actually uploaded this particular video, well, quite a few of them, they were taken down and then it was re-uploaded again. So I don't know why they took them down for this being uploaded. For ex-slave speaking. But hey, we pretty much have the idea, understanding of what's going on. So anyway, this also proves, according to the Bible, we're going to go into a little bit of reincarnation, but the curses. Right, and this is why we say Deuteronomy 28 fits the Israelites, whether in this time, right, the past, and even the future. So it still fits the Israelites until Yahushua comes to return. Deuteronomy 28:15. This is for you who don't know, right, or why us Israelites say what we say. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So you can read this whole thing, and it goes back in time. It goes even to the slavery that we undergone, and even to this day, right? 70 AD, you know, it says, "Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field." Right? "Cursed shalt thou be in the basket and thy store. Cursed shalt thou be in the fruit of the body and the fruit of the land." I was just reading another. It was another one. I just didn't have the time to put that clip in, where the woman, she worked at the cotton field, and the older white lady said she had a child by the man, her somebody she fell in love with, and they broke him up and took the boy and moved him somewhere else. And then like 20 years later or 15 years later, she remarried and found out that that was her son that she gave up for adoption. So you can kind of see how these curses are real. And you look at the state of our people, and the way they were and the way they talked and looked. And the Lord kept them alive for a long time. Some of them were living over 100 years old. They was eating real food. It wasn't the pollution, but man, to suffer that long. But anyway, you can read this whole thing. I'm just going to read little skits and bits out of it. "The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them." Right? This also happened to the so-called Native Americans. Right? When they came over and down in South America as well. Right? It says, "Thou shalt go out against them and flee 7 ways before them." I think it was, I don't know if it was Columbus or one of his men. They said they got off the ship and they just saw one of them and they all ran. They were scared of what they saw. For one man, it's like, they said like 7, 8 men ran. Right? "And shall be removed into all kingdoms of the earth." Right? Which proves that the Israelites will be every kingdom. They won't be in one particular spot like people claim to be today. "The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart." This is verse 30. "Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, right, and thou shalt not dwell therein." Right? I mean, we can go on and on. I'm just going to read the major, quite a few. "So that the man that is tender and among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, toward his wife, and toward his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." I mean, we can go on and on. Let me jump up to 48. "Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee." Again, this is, when you go to the scholars on this, they'll say this all happened in 70 AD. Anything after that, all the Lord's prophecies just stopped. All the things that's going to happen to the children of Israel, according to them, just stopped. That's why the Lord revealed his secret to his servants, the prophets, not these Bible scholars. What are they going to say? You really think at the time in the 1800s, the early 1900s, when they wrote some of this stuff, they're going to say, you know what? That sounds like the Negroes. You really think they're going to say that? I doubt it. Verse 68, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way thereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again." Now, Mizraim is a land, is actually a Greek name. The Greeks gave that name. Actually, it's the land of Mizraim, but the Egyptian is a Greek name, right? And it says, "Thou shalt see it no more again, and there thou shalt be sold unto the enemies, but bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you," which really means beside you, and redeem you. So I'm not going to go all into that, because they said you should offer yourselves up, and they mistranslated it. We can go into old definitions. But also what I wanted to talk about is how they people are now, our people want to exempt slavery. They just forget it. There was black slave owners, a whole bunch of black slave owners. They don't care. We understand that slavery was business. And let's say it was a bunch of black slave owners. It's still the people that who ruled over them when it came to slave owners. Also, you have to understand it's not strictly colored based. If one of the slave owners had a young black woman that he fell in love with and he laid with her, and there was a boy, and that boy came out, well, actually he wouldn't look totally black or totally white. So he would be raised, right, to take over, as a slave owner. Or these were the type of people that was used to go into the churches, right, and re-educate. And this is why when you go into the sororities, which goes back years before that, they would set up boule. The boule members was what you call Milanos, or what we call tares, right? Who their wealth was passed on down through them. Just like up north, when you watch that show, A Different World, and it was also Diddy. Some of them were tares, and then of course some of us adopted into it, and then we had some form of rank and power as well. So slavery was messed up all the way around the board. And you got to understand that when you do have a form of slavery like that, there will always be so-called black men that will step up, even other Israelite men that will step up to be, the taskmaster or owner. He would love to be an owner, right? Just like today when you deal with basketball, the football, basketball, and the sports, you got Jake, the so-called black man, who would love to be an owner of a team. It's kind of the same thing. We'll go in a little bit of reincarnation. Joel 3, I will also gather all nations and bring them down in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, who they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and given a boy for an harlot, and sold a wine for a girl that they might drink. So let's say some years after. Remember, slavery went on for some years. And you did have some so-called black men that was playing a part. This all got started, right, through full slavery, right? And what they've done, they used to castrate the boys and sell them. So when the curses of the Lord, you can't tell me the curses of the Lord isn't real. The curse of the Lord in this flesh, man, that's something different, right? When you go to Jeremiah 30:16, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So if all these people hundreds of years ago have died, how is that going to happen, right? How is that going to happen if they're dead? If they were evil people, right, and they're burning in hell, and according to some people's wisdom, they believe that even though they owned slaves, that they were still great people. So they don't even think they went to hell. They think that slave owners went to heaven. Which the scripture says, all go to one place, right? Let me get that real quick. And, there's several scriptures on reincarnation, but just for the sake of the video and to try to keep it short, I'm going to just touch on this a little bit, right, and just show. There's Ecclesiastes 3:20. It says, all go to one place, right? All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again, right? 3:20. Let's go to 21. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of beast that goeth downward to the earth? Right? So that's how the Lord set it up. Everybody go to the spirit realm. Some on the right hand side of the Lord and some on the left hand side. It's going to make sense that most of the babies that was born here were crying their eyes out because they came here knowing that they were in hell, right? So when the kingdom of heaven starts, hey, let's go to Ecclesiastes 3:15. I'm just trying to make this video short. Mainly with the intro, I just wanted to bring it and show there's people who say that slavery didn't exist, slave ships didn't exist, all this matter. And it'd be our people who push that. Leave it to us. You got the elites who will push that agenda out there, to the women that come against men and to certain things that come against other doctrines just to fully destroy us, and we'll follow it, right? That which have been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and Yahweh requireth that which is past, right? So the Most High require that which is past. Everything you've done, you don't get away with it. You got to get paid back, right? Let's go to Job. I'm kind of thinking of scriptures as I go along. I think it's Job 34. Hey, there's no getting around that. You have to pay for what you've done, no matter who you are. And we're going to read this real quick. When he giveth quiet, of talking about the Most High, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Right? So when he giveth quietness, then nobody can make trouble. But when he hide himself, then nobody can hold on to him. You lose. You're left out there. It says whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. So at the end of the day, the Lord can get you as a nation or even as an individual. So we get punished. See, punishment is a wide range. You get punished as a nation, but then people who are still in power get punishments. The people who are under still get punishments. But in a whole, the nation is under a punishment. The whole nation is under captivity, right? We can read the scriptures. He who stealeth a man and sheddeth his blood, he should be surely put to death. Habakkuk 2, right? How they covered fields and transgressed by wine. There's so much stuff that was done to the children of Israel. And that's the point. The children of Israel and the curses, this proves it. This proves it right there. And no matter how much you try to say, they were black slaves, and it was this, slave owners. Of course, if you're a taskmaster, you're technically a slave owner anyway, whether you know that or not. And even still, when you go to, what was that, that place where they built a property, and I can't remember it, but they built the property on the land, and they came and bombed it. Tulsa, Oklahoma. They came and bombed it. What a lot of people didn't know, and what the media tried to push out there, is that it was blacks. They owned their businesses. They had power. They had their own businesses. They was in control. What the media don't show is that that property and those businesses that they owned was on the oppressor's land. And that's why they had the right to blow it up and do whatever they wanted to do with it. They could raise taxes. They can do all kinds of destructive behavior. So they was in some form of power, but what good did it do them? Because you can own a slave, you can have power. What good does it do you when this man's still over you? This is what it is. And it's still existing, right? So anyway, I just want to touch on that. That's all I have on that. Shalom.